The Galactic Academy was the most respected training center in the entire galaxy, but it was also the most feared. Every year, thousands of young cadets from different planets came here to prove that they were strong enough to join the great fleets. Some came with 4 eyes, some with metal skin, some with tentacles instead of arms, but all of them shared the same fear: the final test. This test was not a written exam. It was not a puzzle. It was not even a normal physical challenge. It was a fight. A fight against a creature so powerful that most cadets had nightmares about it long before the test even began. The creature was known as the War Beast. No one knew exactly where it came from. Some believed it was created in a lab by ancient scientists. Others said it was a monster found on a lost world. Many believed it was a survivor of an old war that the galaxy had forgotten. But everyone agreed on one thing: the beast was unstoppable. As the final test began, hundreds of cadets and commanding officers gathered inside the great training hall. The hall was cold, wide, and filled with bright blue lights. The air hummed with tension. Everyone stood behind protective shields, waiting to watch the candidates face the beast. The War Beast stood at the center. Its massive body was covered in dark, armored plates. Its claws were longer than a human's fingers, and each breath came out like smoke from a burning engine. The ground trembled every time it shifted its weight. One by one, alien cadets entered the arena. One by one, they failed. The first cadet, a tall warrior with silver skin, rushed forward with a battle cry. The beast barely moved. With a single swipe of its massive claw, it sent the cadet flying across the arena. The crowd gasped. The second cadet, a creature made of glowing crystals, tried to stun the beast with a blast of energy. The beast simply charged forward, smashing through the attack and knocking the cadet to the ground. The third cadet tried strategy, moving around the beast quickly, trying to confuse it. But the beast followed every step perfectly, as if it could predict movement before it happened. 5 cadets, then 10, then 15, every single one fell. Fear spread among the crowd. The sound of the beast's growl echoed again and again. Its yellow eyes glowed with a terrifying intelligence. Nobody could beat it. Nobody ever had. Then the loudspeakers activated. Next challenger: Human Cadet Eli Ward. The hall fell silent. A wave of whispers spread instantly. A human? Why is a human here? They are too weak. This is a waste of time. Humans were new to the Galactic Academy. They didn't have claws or energy powers or armored skin. Many species saw them as soft, fragile, and too emotional to survive in war. But rules were rules. Every cadet had to face the beast. Eli Ward walked forward slowly. He was calm, but not fearless. His dark hair moved slightly as he stepped into the arena, and he kept his eyes focused on the beast. He had trained for months, but he knew nothing could truly prepare him for this moment. The atmosphere became heavier. Even the shields buzzed louder. The War Beast turned its massive head toward Eli. For the first time that day, the beast did not roar. It did not stomp its feet. It did not attack. It froze. Something unseen passed through the air like an invisible wave. The beast's eyes locked onto Eli's face. Its nostrils flared. It leaned forward, sniffing the air as if trying to confirm something. The spectators leaned forward too. What was happening? Eli took one more step, and the impossible happened. The War Beast lowered its head. Not in attack, not in preparation, but in a bow. A deep, respectful bow, something it had never done for any cadet, commander, or creature in the Academy's history. Gasps filled the hall. Some people shouted. Some believed the beast was malfunctioning. Others believed Eli had used some kind of trick. But Eli himself stood frozen, confused and shocked. The beast didn't move aggressively. It stayed lowered, as if greeting him, as if showing respect, as if it recognized him. The entire Academy felt the tension change. The energy in the room was different, calmer, but heavier with mystery. Questions filled every mind. Why did it bow? What did it see in the human? Why did this unstoppable creature suddenly act gentle? Even the commanders at the control station were whispering urgently to each other, unable to believe their own eyes. The beast had attacked every species with the same rage, but something about humans was different. Eli slowly raised his eyes to meet the beast's gaze. The creature's massive form still shook slightly, like it was fighting old memories or ancient instincts. There was no hate in its eyes. No aggression. Just recognition. As if it had met humans before, long, long ago. But that was impossible. Humans had only recently joined the galaxy. Still, the beast bowed lower. And at that moment, every cadet, every officer, and even Eli himself realized one truth. This was no accident. Something ancient was waking. And it had chosen the human. The great training hall was louder than ever, but the noise did not come from the war beast. It came from the cadets, the officers, and the shocked crowd trying to understand what they had just witnessed. A monster that crushed every warrior had bowed to a human. No one had ever seen such a thing before. Many believed it was impossible. The shields around the arena flickered as the commanders argued with each other. Some shouted that the beast was malfunctioning. Some claimed that the human had cheated. Others believed the test should be stopped immediately. But none of them dared to step into the arena. The beast was still too dangerous, yet strangely calm, almost peaceful, as it remained in front of Eli Ward with its head lowered to the ground. Eli stood frozen, unsure what to do. He could feel the eyes of hundreds of aliens watching his every breath. He had never liked attention. Back on Earth, he was just an average guy. Not the fastest in his class, not the strongest, not the smartest. But here, right now, he was the center of the entire galaxy's focus. The thought made his heart pound harder than any battle could. The war beast slowly lifted its head and looked at him again. Its eyes were deep and bright, filled with something Eli couldn't understand. Not anger, not fear. Something else. Something ancient. He felt as if the creature was searching his soul, trying to confirm a memory that didn't belong to this time. Human, remain still, a commander ordered through the speakers. The voice shook slightly. Even the highest-ranking officers were nervous. One wrong move from the beast, and the shields might not be enough to stop it. But the beast didn't attack. It took one slow step forward, its claws scraping gently on the metal floor. The crowd gasped again. Eli didn't move. Something inside him said he didn't need to. Somehow, he understood that the beast did not want to harm him. The command center screens flickered rapidly as scanners tried to read the beast's brain activity. The results were confusing. Every time an alien challenger entered the arena, the beast's brain filled with patterns of aggression, battle instinct, and survival drive. But now, with Eli standing there, its signals looked almost calm. Almost gentle. Impossible, one scientist muttered. Run a deeper scan, another shouted. Check for a psychic link. Meanwhile, the alien cadets in the viewing rows were arguing loudly. Some were angry. They felt cheated. They had trained all their lives, and yet this human, this small, fragile newcomer, had not even fought, but had already passed a test none of them could. Others were scared, believing that maybe humans were more dangerous than they had thought. Maybe the beast is broken, one cadet hissed. No, another whispered. Look at it. It's not broken. It's obeying. The word obeying echoed in Eli's mind. Why would a war monster obey him? The beast made another deep sound, not a roar but a low rumble that felt like thunder under the floor. It tilted its massive head, waiting, watching. The creature acted as if Eli was supposed to do something. But what? Eli slowly raised a hand, unsure if it was a good idea. He expected the beast to snap or growl. Instead, the creature leaned slightly forward, inviting him. Eli's heartbeat thundered in his ears as he gently touched the beast's armored forehead. Instant warmth spread through Eli's hand. The beast's body vibrated softly, like a giant animal purring. The entire hall fell silent again. Every sensor in the arena lit up. The beast's neural activity spiked, but not in aggression. It surged in recognition, as if responding to a long-lost signal. What is happening? A commander shouted. Something new, a scientist replied. something we have never seen. The war beast stepped back and then lowered its body again, this time in a deeper, fuller bow. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't confusion. It was choosing him, respecting him, maybe even pledging itself to him. The commanders were panicking now. This was not part of any test. The beast had been built, or discovered, to challenge cadets, to make them stronger, to show them their limits. But now it was acting like a creature meeting its rightful leader. Eli stepped backward slightly, overwhelmed. He was just a cadet, barely out of basic training. Why would a legendary battle creature bow to him? His mind raced with questions he could not answer. The crowd whispered in hundreds of languages. Why him? What does the beast want? Are humans hiding something? Is he dangerous? The atmosphere felt heavy, as if something monumental was about to happen, something that would change the academy forever. The war monster slowly rose again and looked directly into Eli's eyes. A connection passed between them, like a silent message. Eli didn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. It wasn't fear. It wasn't threat. It was recognition. And something close to loyalty. The commanders finally cut the broadcast in panic. Lights flashed. Security drones entered the hall. Something in the air felt wrong, like a storm building. But Eli wasn't afraid. Because the beast, the unstoppable monster, had chosen to stand beside him. And everyone in the academy knew. This was not the end of the test. It was the beginning of a mystery much bigger than anyone expected. The great training hall stayed locked down for hours after the incident. Security drones circled the arena. High-ranking officers whispered urgently in private rooms. Scientists hurried between labs with tablets filled with confused data. Yet, the war beast remained calm inside the arena, sitting quietly like a giant guardian, its glowing eyes never leaving the human cadet, Eli Ward. Eli waited inside a separate observation chamber. He wasn't allowed to leave or speak to anyone. 2 guards stood outside his door, both nervous, both watching him as if he might explode at any moment. Eli didn't understand why. He hadn't done anything. He hadn't threatened anyone. He had simply stood still while the beast bowed to him. But to the academy, that was the most frightening thing of all. Inside the control room, chaos had replaced order. Dozens of officers argued over the situation. Screens showed slowed replays of the beast bowing, again and again. Scientists tried to find explanations, but every theory failed. Finally, Commander Red Hose, a tall alien with dark purple skin, slammed his fist against the table. Enough. Bring me the data from the beast's memory banks. Everyone went silent. Searching the beast's memories was forbidden. Its origins were classified at the highest level. But today, rules meant nothing. Something strange had happened. Something no species could ignore. A team of scientists carefully connected cables to the beast's neural port. The creature allowed it without resistance, continuing to watch the door where Eli had disappeared. When the link activated, streams of symbols and ancient sequences filled the screens. One scientist gasped. This can't be right. Show us, Commander Redhose demanded. The images shifted into a visual display. A blurry figure of the war beast stood in a different time, long before the academy existed. Around it stood beings that looked humanoid. Not exactly human, but close enough that the room collectively held its breath. The figures were taller, stronger, glowing with strange energy. They were wrapped in armor older than any technology known today. In the vision, the war beast bowed before them, exactly as it had bowed to Eli. A scientist whispered, They look like humans." "No," another corrected. "Not humans. Ancients. A lost species. One that disappeared thousands of years ago." "But the genetic structure, look at it," a biologist added, zooming in on the ancient warriors. "They share more than 80% similarity with humans." That percentage was impossible. The room erupted again with voices, fear, and disbelief. "So the beast recognized the human because he looks like its old masters?" one officer asked. "No," the lead scientist said slowly. "Not looks. Energy. There is an energy pattern in those ancient beings, the same energy the human Eli carries. A very rare, very old signature. Commander Retho's tensed. Are you telling me humans are connected to these ancients? Yes, the scientist said. Humans might be their descendants. The room fell silent. If this was true, then humans were not the weak, harmless newcomers everyone believed. They were heirs of a species powerful enough to command war monsters. Meanwhile, Eli sat in his observation room, unaware of the truth unfolding only meters away. His mind was filled with questions, but he didn't know who to ask. He replayed the moment with the beast again and again, trying to understand why it had bowed. It didn't make sense. He wasn't special. He wasn't chosen. He was just him. A sudden hiss echoed through the room as the door opened. 2 officers entered, escorting a nervous scientist carrying a hologram tablet. Cadet Eli Ward, the officer said stiffly. We need to talk. Eli sat up, confused. Did I do something wrong? No, the scientist said quickly. It's not about something you did. It's about what you are. Eli blinked. What I am. I'm human. That's it. The scientist's hands trembled slightly. Exactly. And that is the problem. He activated the hologram, and the image of the ancient beings appeared in front of Eli. Do you recognize them? The scientist asked. Eli stared. The figures looked like humans, but not exactly. Their eyes were brighter. Their posture stronger. They looked like humans from legends, heroes from stories that never existed. Who are they? Eli asked quietly. We don't fully know, the scientist admitted. But the war beast remembers them. It served them, obeyed them, just like it bowed to you today. Eli felt his stomach tighten. You think I'm related to them? The officer cut in sharply. We think humans are more dangerous than we believed. Eli looked away, uncomfortable. I don't want to be dangerous. That doesn't matter, the officer replied coldly. The war beast believes you are meant to command it. Outside, the beast let out a deep, rumbling sound, as if calling for Eli. The scientist flinched. It is waiting for you, bonded to you. It will obey only you. Eli felt a strange pull inside his chest. A connection. Like an invisible thread tying him to the creature. But why me? He whispered. The scientist hesitated. Because your ancestors were not just warriors. They were apex beings in the galaxy. And the beast remembers their power. Eli stared at the hologram again, feeling a chill down his spine. If the beast remembered the ancient humans, what else in the galaxy remembered them? And what would they do now that one had returned? Hours passed, but the Academy did not calm down. The discovery about the ancient humans spread quickly among the highest officers. Every leader wanted answers. Every scientist wanted more data. And every cadet whispered rumors that grew bigger and louder with every passing minute. But the only one who stayed perfectly still was the war beast. The giant creature remained in the arena, sitting patiently, its glowing eyes fixed on the door where Eli had disappeared earlier. It didn't roar, didn't move aggressively, didn't break anything. Instead, it behaved like a war guardian waiting for its chosen commander's return. That was what scared the Academy the most. Inside the meeting hall, a heated argument was unfolding among the commanders. We cannot allow a human cadet to command a creature this powerful, one officer shouted. It is not his choice, another snapped. The beast chose him. Then override it, a third growled. Force the beast to obey our orders. Have you forgotten what happened last time someone tried to override a war beast? The lead scientist asked coldly. The room fell silent. Everyone remembered. The last override attempt ended with 3 destroyed labs and 7 injured officers. The beast had nearly broken free of the Academy. If not for the emergency failsafe, the creature might have escaped into the galaxy. And now this beast had bonded with a single human. A human who didn't even know how to fight properly. Meanwhile, in the observation room, Eli waited anxiously. His legs trembled slightly, not from fear of the beast, but from the pressure of the entire situation. He didn't want to command a monster. He just wanted to pass the test and maybe earn some respect from the Academy. The door opened again, But this time it wasn't guards or scientists. It was Commander Red Hose. He stepped inside, his purple skin dim under the room's cold lights, his eyes sharp and calculating. Eli stood up instinctively. "Cadet," Red Hose said, "the Academy will continue the test." Eli stared at him, stunned. "But the beast already." "The beast must attack," Red Hose interrupted. "That is its purpose. It cannot simply choose favorites." Eli frowned. "You want it to attack me?" Red Hose didn't blink. "We want to see what it does when ordered. We want to know how strong its bond to you truly is." Eli felt a cold weight sink into his stomach. "And if it refuses?" Red Hose nodded slowly. "Then we will learn something equally important." The decision had already been made. Eli had no choice. He followed Red Hose to the arena, each step echoing like a countdown to something he wasn't ready for. When the door slid open, the war beast immediately rose. Its massive head turned toward Eli, eyes glowing brighter than before. Its tail, thick as a tree, slammed softly against the floor in recognition. The scientists watched with fear. The cadets watched with jealousy. The commanders watched with suspicion. Eli stepped onto the arena floor. The beast began walking toward him, slowly, gently, almost respectfully. A loud voice boomed through the speakers. "War Beast, begin attack protocol." The beast froze. Its breathing changed. Its muscles tightened. But instead of attacking Eli, it let out a deep growl, not at the human, but at the speakers. At the command itself. The ground shook slightly. The commanders issued the order again, louder. "War Beast, attack the human cadet." The beast roared this time, but its roar was filled with defiance, not aggression. It stomped forward and placed itself between Eli and the control station, shielding him from the academy. The spectators cried out in shock. "It's protecting him," someone yelled. "It refuses to fight," shouted another. Commander Red Hose gritted his teeth and turned to the scientists. "Override its mind core." The scientists hesitated. "Commander, if we override." "Do it," Red Hose ordered. A cold silence filled the room as they activated the override. The beast stiffened. Its eyes flickered from bright yellow to a dim red. The creature let out a pained sound, like a wounded animal. It turned its head away from Eli, its body shaking as the override forced it to act against its will. Eli's heart pounded. "Stop! You're hurting it." No one listened. The beast roared again, this time in agony, its movements jerky and unnatural. Its claws scraped across the floor as it tried to resist the command, as if fighting chains inside its mind. "Beast," the speaker boomed. "Attack the human." The creature's head rose slowly. Its eyes, once warm toward Eli, now glowed with forced rage. Eli stepped back, fear rushing through him. "No, don't do this." The beast took one step, then another, mechanical, unnatural, tortured steps. It raised a claw. The crowd held their breath. Eli shut his eyes. Then something impossible happened. The beast slammed its claw down, but not on Eli. It crushed the override control module embedded in its own armor. The red lights in its eyes shattered back into gold. The entire arena shook with the power of the blow. The beast roared again. Not in pain, not in anger, but in pure freedom. It turned toward the control station, its massive body trembling with rage. Commander Red Hose stumbled backward. "Impossible, the override cannot be broken." But the beast ignored him. Slowly, it lowered its head and pressed its forehead gently against Eli's chest. A gesture of loyalty. A choice. A bond deeper than any command could break. And the Academy realized the war beast did not belong to them anymore. It belonged to the human. Eli stood frozen as the war beast pressed its enormous head lightly against his chest. The entire arena had gone silent, so silent that Eli could hear his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. He slowly lifted his hands, unsure if touching the creature again was allowed, yet the beast leaned closer, as if asking for it. When Eli placed his hand on the beast's armored forehead, the creature released a deep, vibrating sound. Not a roar, Not aggression. Something calm, something that felt almost like relief. Everyone watching could sense it. The beast was no longer behaving like a weapon. It was behaving like a living being that had finally found someone it trusted. The silence didn't last long. Commander Redhose shouted orders, and armed security units rushed into the hall. Flying drones circled the beast, aiming stun cannons and restraining beams. The beast growled softly, its muscles tensing, ready to defend Eli. Eli stepped forward quickly. "Stop. Don't hurt it." But no one listened. They couldn't. Protocol demanded containment. The beast was too powerful, too unpredictable, and now too loyal to a human they did not control. One drone fired a restraint beam. A bright blue net of energy shot toward the beast's torso. Before the net even reached it, the beast swung its tail with terrifying speed. The energy net shattered in midair, cracking like broken glass. Gasps filled the arena. It broke high-level restraints. A guard shouted. Another drone fired. Another net shattered. Eli felt panic building in his chest. "Please. You're only making it angry." Commander Redhose ignored him completely. "Hold positions. Prepare the charged nets." These nets were meant for creatures that could destroy starships, deadly, dangerous nets that could kill if used too long. The beast sensed the shift in the air. Its claws extended slightly. Its breathing deepened. It was preparing to fight. Not because it wanted freedom, but because it wanted to protect Eli. Eli stepped directly in front of the beast and raised both hands toward the soldiers. "Enough. You're going to cause a disaster." One soldier shouted, "Move, cadet. The creature is unstable." "No," Eli said firmly. "It won't attack unless you force it." Behind him, he felt a warm vibration, almost like a massive heartbeat echoing through the beast's body. It was waiting, listening, trusting him. That trust sent a strange surge of strength through Eli, something he didn't understand but could feel deep inside. Commander Redhose slammed his fist against the control desk. "This is not a pet. It is a war machine. We cannot allow a cadet to influence it." Eli turned toward him. "Then talk to me. Don't attack it." Redhose hesitated, eyes filled with frustration and fear. "You don't understand the danger, human." Maybe Eli didn't understand everything, but he understood one thing clearly. The beast wasn't the threat here. Fear was. Slowly, Eli turned back to the creature. He placed a hand on its snout. "Hey, I know you're scared too," he whispered softly. "But don't fight them. You don't need to. Just trust me." The beast lowered its head again, its huge form relaxing slightly. It let out a soft rumble, warm and low. The drones hesitated. The soldiers hesitated. Even Commander Redhose hesitated. A scientist rushed into the hall, breathless and pale. "Commander, we analyzed the beast's reaction patterns. It isn't protecting itself. It's protecting him." Redhose narrowed his eyes. "We already know that." "No," the scientist said firmly. "You don't understand. Its bond with Eli isn't simple loyalty. It's instinct. Ancient instinct. Like a genetic memory. The beast recognizes humans as..." He stopped suddenly, as if the truth was too heavy to say. "As what?" Redhose demanded. The scientist swallowed. "As leaders. As commanders. Its species was created to follow the ancients. And humans share the same signature." The entire arena went silent again. Eli stared at the beast, feeling a pull deep in his chest, a warm, powerful connection that wasn't one-sided. He could feel what the beast felt. Fear. Loyalty. Confusion. Hope. The beast wasn't just protecting him. It was asking for something. Eli took a slow breath. "You want a command, don't you?" The beast lifted its head and let out a soft sound, like a yes. Eli placed both hands against its warm armor. His voice was gentle, unsure, but brave. "Then here is my command. Do not harm anyone." The beast's glowing eyes flickered. It stepped back, lowered itself, and went perfectly still. The drones lowered their weapons slowly. The soldiers watched in disbelief. Commander Redhose stared, unable to speak. Eli exhaled shakily. He had no idea how he did that. But it worked. Somehow, the beast understood him. Not as a handler, not as a trainer, as someone it was meant to follow. The beast then nudged Eli gently with its head, pushing him toward the exit door, as if telling him it wanted to leave the arena with him. Eli froze. "You want me to go with you?" The beast looked at him steadily, eyes glowing brighter. The officers stiffened again. "Do not allow the human to leave with the beast," Red Hose ordered. But the creature growled, a low, earth-shaking sound that made everyone step back. Eli swallowed hard. "It's okay," he whispered, placing a hand on the beast again. For the first time, he didn't feel fear. He felt purpose. And deep inside the beast's strange, ancient eyes, it felt the same. The hall fell into a deep, cold silence the moment the war beast bowed to Alex. No one moved. No one breathed. It was as if the entire station froze in time. Only the beast's heavy breath filled the air, slow, steady, almost respectful. Every cadet stared in pure disbelief. The war beast, something that had crushed champions, broken bones, and scared alien soldiers to tears, was now lowering its huge head before a young human cadet. Alex didn't understand why. He had no idea what he had done to earn this reaction. His palms were still sweaty, and his heart was still racing inside his chest. But something inside the beast had changed. Its eyes, once filled with cold rage, now held a strange softness. A flicker of recognition. Something ancient, something instinctive. Alex did not move. He just stood there, unsure if he was safe or moments away from being eaten. He whispered quietly, "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you." The beast let out a deep rumble, not angry this time, but almost like a response. A communication. A sound that carried meaning, even if Alex didn't understand it. The alien instructors, high above in the observation deck, panicked. "Pull the beast back." "No, wait. It's not attacking. This is impossible." The beast does not submit. One instructor slammed his hand against the glass. "Humans are unstable. This could be a trick." Another shook his head. "No. This is instinct. The creature is reacting to something in him." The beast lifted its head slowly and took a single step closer to Alex. Everyone watching let out a gasp. Alex could feel the ground shake beneath its huge paws. But instead of striking, it simply sniffed him, like a giant predator trying to understand what it had found. Then, with surprising gentleness, the beast nudged Alex's shoulder, almost like a gesture of acceptance. Alex swallowed hard. "You trust me?" The beast blinked once, then twice. And in its silent way, that blink felt like a yes. Behind the force field, the other cadets whispered loudly, "No way. It bowed to a human? That thing sees him as its leader?" A Zeltrian cadet shook his head in awe. "Humans are terrifying. Even monsters respect them." But Alex felt none of that. He didn't feel terrifying. He didn't feel powerful. He only felt confusion, and something else too, a strange connection forming, as if the beast's presence was speaking directly to some deep part of him. The war beast suddenly let out a loud roar, but it wasn't directed at Alex. It was directed at everything else. The kind of roar animals give when claiming territory or announcing loyalty. Lights on the walls flickered from the vibration. Dust fell from the ceiling. Several cadets covered their ears. But Alex didn't flinch. The beast's roar washed over him like a wave, but instead of fear, he felt calm. As if the roar wasn't meant to scare him but warn everything else. This human is not prey. This human is not enemy. This human is chosen. The instructors immediately started shouting into their comms. "Secure the chamber. No. Do not provoke it. This could start a riot among the evaluation creatures." Alex slowly reached out his hand again, not to fight, but to reassure. The beast lowered its head willingly. Its thick, armored hide was warm beneath his palm. The contact sent a strange shiver through Alex, like he had touched something ancient, powerful, and deeply intelligent. For a moment, it felt like the beast was showing him memories. Flashes of jungles on a distant world. Battles.
Pain.
Loneliness. A life spent as a weapon. A beast that had never trusted anything or anyone.
Until now.
The connection broke, but the feeling stayed. Alex whispered softly, "You've been alone for a long time, haven't you?" The beast closed its eyes. Across the hall, some cadets were trembling. They didn't understand what they were seeing, but they knew one thing: the evaluation had changed. The trial was no longer about survival or strength. Something larger was happening. Something no alien had planned. Alex took a slow step backward, unsure if the beast would react. But instead of attacking, the beast gently moved to block him, protecting him from the direction of the instructors. It stood tall, facing them directly, as if daring anyone to come close. The instructors stared, horrified. "It is guarding the human. This is unacceptable. Shut the test down." "No, observe. This is evolution in real time." Alex looked up at the observation deck. The glass reflected his small figure beside the towering beast. A boy and a monster standing together like allies. He whispered, "Why me?" The beast turned its head slightly, as if listening to his voice again. And in that moment, Alex realized something. It wasn't about strength. It wasn't about dominance. It was about the one thing humans had that many species never understood. Connection. Empathy. Heart. The war beast sensed it, needed it, respected it. Before Alex could speak again, the alarms suddenly blared. Emergency sirens. Flashing red lights. A robotic voice shouting. Unauthorized beast bond detected. Lockdown initiated. The cadets panicked. The beast growled. Alex braced himself. The real test was just beginning. Red alarms screamed through the training hall as metal shutters slammed down across the exits. Cadets ran in every direction, trying to escape before the lockdown sealed the chamber. The ground shook beneath their feet. The lights flickered. Everything felt unstable, dangerous, out of control. But Alex didn't move. The war beast stood in front of him like a living shield, its huge body blocking him from the guards and the drones that were rushing in. Sparks showered the ground as security turrets slid out of the walls, charging weapons and locking onto the beast. A cold voice echoed from the speakers above. "Stand down, human. Step away from the creature. It is too dangerous." Alex took a breath and shouted back, "No, it's not attacking anyone. You're scaring it." The instructors ignored him. The drones aimed their rifles. The massive beast growled, its claws digging into the metal floor. Its body tensed, not in aggression, but in protection. It placed itself fully between Alex and the weapons. The lead instructor barked an order. "Neutralize the beast." "No," Alex yelled, louder than ever. But the turrets fired. Blue plasma bolts shot across the hall, lighting the room with harsh flashes. The beast roared and curled around Alex like a fortress of armor and muscle. The plasma burned into its skin, but it refused to move. It refused to let anything hit Alex. Cadets screamed, "Stop shooting. You'll kill him." But the firing continued. Alex pressed his hand against the beast's side.
"Please run.
Save yourself." The beast lowered its head and looked at him with eyes that held something almost human. "I protect, not run." Plasma blasts kept hitting. The beast pushed Alex toward a corner, taking every shot across its back. Smoke rose from its wounds, yet it didn't fall. It didn't even flinch away. It only tightened its stance. Alex felt tears burning his eyes. Not from fear, but from something deeper. Something painful. Something proud. This creature, this weapon that had never bowed to anyone, was now willing to die to protect him. He stepped out from behind the beast before it could stop him. The cadets shouted, "Alex, no." The instructors screamed, "Return to your position." The beast growled desperately, nudging him back. But Alex stood firm. He raised his hands high. "Stop shooting." The entire hall froze at the sound of his voice. Not because it was loud, but because of the force inside it. Something raw. Something commanding. Something that made even machines hesitate. The turrets paused. The drones hovered in confusion. For a moment, There was only silence. A single human, standing unarmed between a monster and an army. Alex felt a strange fire rising inside him. Not anger, something more like courage waking up. Something ancient. The thing humans carried in their blood, the thing that made them explorers, survivors, fighters, and friends. He shouted again. It bowed to me. That means it chose peace. The instructors looked at each other, stunned. They had studied hundreds of species, thousands of instincts, but not one of them understood what was happening. A creature built for war had chosen a human for something new. A bond. A trust. A leader. The war beast lowered its head beside Alex, as if confirming his words. One instructor whispered, breath shaking, "Humans, they forge bonds even with the unbondable." Another said, "This is not submission. This is loyalty. Voluntary loyalty." Slowly, painfully, the weapon shut down. The beast collapsed to one knee from its burns, but Alex rushed to it and wrapped his arms around its massive head. The beast let out a soft, rumbling breath. Weak, but calm. The connection between them felt even stronger now. Alex whispered, "I'm here. I won't let them hurt you." The beast's eyes closed gently, trusting him fully. The instructors finally descended from the observation deck. Their faces were pale, shaken, unable to hide the reality they had witnessed. One of them stepped forward and spoke in a quiet, almost humbled voice. "Human, your test is complete." Alex stood, dust and smoke clinging to his clothes. "Did I pass?" The instructor shook his head slowly. "You did not pass the evaluation." Alex's heart sank. "You exceeded it." Alex froze. "You have shown something no other species has, a strength that comes not from power, but from connection. From courage. From heart." Even the war beast recognized it. Another instructor bowed slightly, a gesture almost never given to cadets. From this moment, the beast is no longer a test subject. It is under your command if you accept. Alex looked at the creature, wounded, burned, but alive, waiting for him. He placed a hand gently on its head. "Of course I accept." The beast let out a low, grateful sound. The cadets watched in awe as the human and the monster stood together, united, forming a bond stronger than any weapon. And in that moment, every alien in the room understood why humans were feared, respected, and admired across the stars. Because humans don't conquer the galaxy with claws or fangs. They conquer it with loyalty, courage, and impossible connections. The war beast slowly rose to its feet beside Alex. Not as a threat, not as a test, but as a companion, a partner, a friend. And together, they walked out of the hall, ready for whatever the galaxy would bring next.